Ukraine is urging its citizens to leave Russia. Ukraine's lawmakers have approved a nationwide state of emergency beginning on Thursday as fears of a Russian invasion increase. Meanwhile, Moscow has started evacuating personnel from its embassy in Ukraine. Hopes for a diplomatic way out of the crisis appear all but sunk as Washington and key European allies accuse Moscow of crossing a red line. This for rolling over Ukraine's border into separatist regions. The situation remains fluid and uncertain, but one expert suggests that there may be a precedent to learn from. Jim Brooke, writing for the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, says Russian action in Georgia in 2008 may be the blueprint for what is happening in Ukraine today. Mr. Brooke previously was Canadian bureau chief of the New York Times and senior positions that he has held with Bloomberg and Voice of America. He is currently a visiting fellow at the FDD, and he joins us now. Mr. Brooke, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thank you, Nima. I appreciate it.
Now, all eyes are on this developing situation, but you say we should look to the past and draw similarities from Russian moves in Georgia in 2008. So tell us a little bit more about what happened back then.
Right. The first week of August in 2008, I was in Tbilisi, Georgia, watching Russian TV, which you get then, and I saw these hysterical TV correspondents reporting that civilians were being evacuated from the capital of South Ossetia. The civilians looked very relaxed. They looked like they were going to summer camp, and they probably were. But basically, the Russia propaganda machine was starting in action. It coincided with the end of military maneuvers just north of the Georgian border. At the end of those maneuvers, the Russians left 1,000 pieces of equipment, trucks, tanks, armored personnel carriers, right at the northern end of this tunnel through the mountains that goes down into Georgia. I don't know whether the CIA was asleep that weekend or what, but they didn't really get the message through. The sessions are backed by the Russians, started shelling in a very provocative way, killing about 15 Georgian police officers and soldiers. And then finally, the president of Georgia fell for the bait and attacked the secessionists, and then the Russians pounced. And we now know that back about 4 months earlier, they had already prepared a battle plan. And the trigger was the US decision, along with Canada and other countries in NATO, to invite Georgia and Ukraine to join NATO. And that set off the Russians immediately. They decided this is our time to act. And they did. So the whole thing was being made up. And at the same time, the Russian president accused the Georgians of genocide, of killing thousands of South Ossetians. In reality, 5 months after the war, the official Russian death toll was 168. So the Russian president said genocide. All the Russian reporters repeated that. And that created a very ugly situation, similar to the Balkans, where the locals supported the purging of Georgian villages, burning them out. It was very, very ugly.
Sounds very similar to the situation developing in Ukraine, sir. So what were the political and military results of Russia's actions against Georgia?
Well, in the case of Georgia, in the long run, you don't lose a war and stay in power. In the long run, the president of Georgia lost power, and Russia kind of got their way. They got a more compliant, more Russia-friendly prime minister, Bidzina Ivanishvili, and I think that's what they would like in Ukraine. They would like to get a compliant pro-Russian president in power without going through elections, which they can't win.
Well, it seems that Western allies do not want this to happen, and we're seeing sanctions being pushed upon Russia by the U.S., by Canada. But what are the effects that these sanctions are likely going to have on Russia's moves?
Nima, the big surprise this week was Germany, where they have a new untested chancellor, Olaf Scholz. And seemingly out of the blue, he announced that he was stopping Nord Stream 2, which is a 1,000-kilometer Russia to Germany Baltic pipeline that runs along the bed of the Baltic Sea. And that was going to mainstream natural gas into Germany and turn Germany into the Northern European gas hub for Europe, and bypass Ukraine. And so Ukraine, which earns billions of dollars through shipping gas, would be out of the picture. a lot of pushback on that. Your prime minister, the American president, pushed back against that pipeline. But the German chancellor took measures that this thing is not supposed to happen.
Definitely, we'll have to keep our eyes on this developing situation as it unfolds. But Mr. Brooks, we are out of time. We'll definitely have to get you back on the show to talk more on this. Thank you again for today.